So, a first year teacher I know posted an AI generated image on her Instagram story. It was her, surrounded by everything living in her head: IEPs, 504s, duty schedules, dismissal times, passwords she's supposed to remember. 20 minutes later, it was gone. Deleted. I think I know why, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Welcome back to the Veteran Teacher Files. I'm your host, the Dragon Lady, and today we're talking about something I've been calling open tabs. Not the kind on your laptop, the kind in your brain. The ones that pile up so fast during the beginning of a school year that you stop noticing how many you actually have open until one of them completely crashes the whole system. This is part one of a two-parter. Today we're doing the work tabs. Wednesday we're doing the home tabs, because it turns out they're not separate problems. They're the same problem wearing two different outfits. So that image. My friend, Goth Chick, is a first year teacher, and she made this AI image, and I saw it early one morning. It was all there. The IEPs, 504, recess duty, lunch duty, morning duty, dismissal duty, which kid gets pulled out at which time, which kid pushes in at which time, beginning of the year assessment she hasn't given, beginning of the year training she hasn't finished, logins to create, passwords to remember, all of it just floating there, visually, the way it actually lives in her head. So I went back because I wanted to take a screenshot of it, and it was already gone. That tells me almost as much as the image did. She put the whole truth out there, and then she felt maybe that it was too much to leave up, and it was gone. So I texted her, and she texted me back that she had been pulled during her administration of a test without any warning because she forgot she had a sub coming in to cover her class while she attended a training. So she had to miss 2 full days of her instruction. She had to throw together a lesson plan last minute, and her exact words to me were, "This is too much shit, man." And then half joking, but only half, that she wants to dip her whole body into a bucket of margaritas. Then there's my friend Squirrel. She has 20 years in education as a paraeducator, but she just got her credential, and this is her first year with her own classroom as a resource teacher. 26 students, 10 different teacher schedules she has to coordinate around because resource kids don't live in one room. They live across a whole campus of other people's calendars. Service minutes to track who needs pull out, who needs push in, and how many minutes of each. On paper, that has to hold up. So she texted my group chat, my tribe, and she said it plainly. I've been scheduling meetings between multiple people and multiple schedules, providing service minutes for kids who need pull and push in. 26 students across 10 teacher schedules, and picking up the ball that somebody else dropped because they stopped giving a damn. She cried 3 times that day. One of those times was right after an IEP meeting. Mid-sentence explaining the family's rights to them, her brain just stopped, blanked out. She told us afterwards that she couldn't remember anything else that she was supposed to say. And then there's Bat, another veteran in our group chat. She teaches online homeschool, K through 2nd grade, 3rd grade, I can't exactly remember. And she has kids who check in with her every 2 weeks instead of every day. In person, she checks in with them every day on the computer, but in person every 2 weeks. So different format, but same wave. She too told us that she was crying that day. So 3 different women, 3 completely different teaching situations. First year, 20th year, online, in person, RSP, all of it. Same week, same wave. Now, it would be easy to say, okay, fine, that's just 4 dramatic women having a rough week. But it's not. RAND, capital RAND, which stands for Research and Development, runs the largest annual survey of American teachers there is. And their 2026 numbers released this last summer found that just over half of K through 12 public school teachers said they were dealing with frequent job-related stress, versus about a third of other working adults with similar education levels. That gap has held steady since 2021. And it's not only stress. well over half of the teachers reported feeling burned out, roughly 20 points higher than comparable working adults. The research points to the same handful of drivers every year: student behavior, low pay, working hours that spill past contract, and administrative work that has nothing to do with actual teaching, which, if you were listening closely to everyone's list a minute ago, is almost exactly what we've been describing. And it's worse the newer you are. A 2025 survey out of the Center for American Progress found that roughly 7 out of every 10 early career teachers, 5 years or less in the classroom, have already left or seriously considered leaving the field. This is Goth Chick's first year and Squirrel's first year in their own classrooms. So that statistic is sitting right there in that large number. This isn't a them problem. This is a profession-wide one, and we're all just living our own version of it in real time. So I spent years as an instructional coach, and here's something I want first-year teachers listening to this to hear me directly. The things that feel small to me now were never small the first time. Pulling a small group sounds like nothing when you've done it 10,000 times. But the first time you do it, with no model for what it's actually supposed to look like, it's genuinely disorienting. Nobody hands you a script. And classroom management? Yeah. At this point in my career, it mostly doesn't rattle me. I've got one elective period where it's still a real fight, and that's it. But I coached enough brand new teachers to know that for most of them in year 1, classroom management is the job. The kid who gets up every 4 minutes, the kid who asks for the bathroom the second you start direct instruction, the kid who calls out, the kid who never brings a pencil, never turns anything in, and you're trying to figure it all out in real time, whether that's defiance or something else going on. I did an episode about a month ago called Everything is Hard, so go back and give it a listen. I stand by every word of it. But procedures on paper and procedures with 28 actual bodies in the room are two different things, and it takes real repetition to close that gap. I'll go further than that actually. I'll go back into my own first year. I cried constantly. Not dramatically, just like regularly, quietly, the way you do when you don't want anyone else to know that you're crying. I would cry at home while I was lesson planning. I would cry driving home. I would just quietly have tears rolling down my cheeks. And I've told people before, if go back and listen to Broke Teacher episode, that my first few paychecks went right back into my classroom. What I haven't said as directly is that I was also just exhausted in a way that I'd never been exhausted before. I was still young back then, in my early to mid-20s, and my friends would ask me to go out on Friday nights and Saturday nights, and I'd be dead by like 8 p.m., just exhausted. I remember telling my then roommate, someday when I'm a real teacher, it won't feel like this. I'm a real teacher now, and I was wrong, and also kind of right. It is easier now. I'm not crying in my car as much, but it never fully stopped feeling like this. It just changes. So let me be a little bit honest about my own list, because I'm not exempt from this, and I don't think being a veteran teacher gets me off the hook. So here's what's sitting open in my head right now at work that I haven't closed. I've already got students trending towards failing, and I know I shouldn't wait until October to call home. I've been saying that to myself for over a week. Have I made the calls? No. I'm reaching parents though, Class Dojo, but there are families I can't reach that way. And some of the conversations are getting past the let's have a Class Dojo conversation. And I haven't started documenting those attempts or the other conversations in an actual student information system, which means if I ever need a paper trail, I don't have one yet. I have group work for my elective sitting ungraded. And if I'm being honest with everybody, it's because it's not my favorite class. So I keep finding reasons to do everything else except touch their papers. I haven't practiced fire drill lineups with my group of students either, which means the first time the fire alarm actually goes off, I generally don't know what it's going to look like. And I'm teaching straight off digital slides right now. No anchor charts, no visuals, not much language on my walls yet. And I know exactly how important that is for kids. I've coached other teachers on this. And I still haven't made time to build it for myself. That's not even the full list. That's just what's loud enough for me to notice. Here's what gets me about all of this. None of us are trying to even be a superhero teacher. Nobody in this episode is chasing Teacher of the Year. Squirrel isn't trying to save the world. She's just trying to get her kids the pull-in minutes and the push-out minutes they need. Bat isn't trying to be a hero. She's just trying to get through the check-ins and all the grade levels she has to deal with. Goth Chick isn't trying to go above and beyond. She's just trying to survive getting beginning of the year testing while beginning of the year training. I'm not trying to build the fanciest classroom on campus either. I'm just trying to close 8 or 9 open tabs before they turn into 10, 11, 12. We're not asking to do more. We're just trying to do the job as it's actually written. And the job as it's actually written doesn't fit in the hours we're given to do it. That's work tabs. Wednesday, we open up the ones at home, and I promise you, they don't close when the day ends. They just stack up on top. Before you go, I want to know, what's the one open tab at work you cannot get closed right now, no matter how hard you try? Drop it in the comments. Okay, that's this episode of the Veteran Teacher Files. I'm the Dragon Lady, and if this one hit close to home, do me a favor. Subscribe, follow, share it with a teacher who needs to hear it, and drop a comment below. It helps more than you know, and it helps me keep making these. Anyways, see you all Wednesday for part 2.